Tech Fix Guides channel, solving your everyday problems one video at a time.
Gemini Deep Research Max sounds impressive, but what does it actually do better? If you've seen the new research features inside Gemini, it's easy to assume this is just another AI upgrade with bigger claims. But the real question is simple. Does it actually save you time? Or is it just doing the same work in a more complicated way? In this guide, we're going to break it down in practical terms. No buzzwords, no fake workflows, just what it does, how it works, and when it's actually worth using. By the end, you'll know whether Deep Research or Deep Research Max fits into your real workflow or not. We'll focus on real use cases instead of technical marketing language so you can actually apply this. The goal is to help you decide quickly if this is useful for you or something you could ignore. This is especially important because not every new feature is worth changing your workflow for. Understanding the value up front saves you time later. Think of this as a practical filter, not a hype overview. What Deep Research is. At its core, Deep Research is about turning Google Gemini into something closer to a research assistant than a chatbot. Instead of just answering a question directly, it can break your request into steps, search for information, gather sources, and then combine everything into a structured response. Instead of you opening multiple tabs, reading articles, and taking notes, Gemini tries to handle that process for you. It builds a kind of internal research plan, follows it, and then gives you a synthesized result. This is especially useful when the topic is broad or requires multiple sources. It's not just answering, it's doing the work behind the answer. That's the main shift compared to normal chat. It also helps reduce the mental load of organizing information yourself. You're not just saving clicks, you're saving decision-making effort. Over time, this can make complex research feel less overwhelming. It's particularly helpful for users who struggle with structuring large amounts of information. The system essentially acts as a first-pass researcher before you refine the results. What Deep Research Max as? Deep Research Max is essentially the more powerful version of that system. It's designed for more complex, messy, or multi-layered tasks where basic research isn't enough. The difference isn't just more data, it's better reasoning, deeper synthesis, and more structured outputs. It can handle longer workflows, connect more pieces of information, and produce results that feel closer to a full report rather than a quick summary. If Deep Research is like a helpful assistant, Max is closer to a dedicated analyst. It's built for situations where you would normally spend a lot of time researching manually. That said, it's not always necessary. Using Max for simple tasks would be overkill. The value shows up when the task itself is complex. It also tends to produce outputs that require less editing afterward. That means you spend less time cleaning up or reorganizing the results. How the workflow works. The workflow is where this feature actually makes sense. It usually starts with your prompt, something like a question, topic, or task. From there, Gemini creates a research plan, deciding what it needs to look for. Then it gathers information from the web and, if available, connected context like documents or tools. After that, it analyzes what it found and starts organizing it into a coherent structure. Finally, it produces an output that combines everything. This could be a summary, breakdown, or even a structured report. The key point is that these steps happen automatically. You're not guiding each step manually. That's what makes it feel more like a workflow than a simple chat response. This automation is where most of the time savings come from. Instead of switching between tasks, everything happens in one flow. It also reduces the chances of missing important information. The system keeps track of context better than manual browsing. Over time, this can make your research process more consistent and reliable. What MCP means here. MCP can sound technical, but in this context, it's easier to think of it as a bridge between Gemini and other tools or data sources. It allows the system to connect with external workflows instead of working in isolation. For example, instead of only using web data, it could potentially interact with structured data, tools, or other environments. You don't need to understand the technical details to benefit from it. The practical takeaway is that Gemini becomes more flexible and capable when it can connect to more than just its built-in knowledge. It's less of a closed system and more of a connected one. That's what makes advanced workflows possible. This also means future features can expand what Gemini can interact with. Over time, this could make it part of larger workflows instead of a standalone tool. For now, just think of it as increasing flexibility. It allows more context to be included in your results. That's what makes deeper research possible. Native charts and visual outputs. One of the more practical upgrades is the ability to generate native charts and visual outputs. Not everyone wants long paragraphs of text. Sometimes you need information organized visually. With this feature, Gemini can present data in charts or structured formats directly in the output. This is especially useful for comparisons, trends, or summaries that are easier to understand visually. It saves you from copying data into another tool just to make sense of it. The result is faster understanding, not just more information. For users who deal with data or analysis, this is a meaningful improvement. It turns raw information into something you can actually use quickly. It also makes sharing results easier with others. Visuals are often clearer than text-heavy explanations. This can be useful in presentations or reports. It reduces the need for extra formatting work. Overall, it helps bridge the gap between research and presentation. Best use cases. Deep Research and Deep Research Max work best when the task involves multiple steps or sources. Good examples include comparing products, doing market research, planning a project, or learning a complex topic in depth. These are situations where you would normally open many tabs and piece everything together yourself. The system helps by doing that aggregation and synthesis for you. It's also useful for pulling together scattered information to one place. The more complex the task, the more value you get. For simple questions, the benefit is minimal, but for layered tasks, it can save a significant amount of time. It's also helpful for early-stage research where you're still exploring ideas. You can get a structured overview before diving deeper. This makes it easier to decide your next steps. It's like getting a map before starting a journey. That alone can improve efficiency. When regular chat is enough, not every task needs deep research. If you're asking quick questions, looking for simple explanations, or doing low-stakes tasks, regular chat is usually faster and more efficient. Using deep research for something simple can actually slow you down because it introduces extra steps you don't need. Think of it like using a full research report when you just wanted a quick answer. The key is choosing the right tool for the job. Regular chat is still the better option for everyday use. Deep research is more specialized. This distinction is important for saving time. Overusing advanced features can reduce efficiency. Sometimes simpler is better. The goal is not to use the most powerful tool, but the most appropriate one. That's how you get the best results. When Deep Research Max is worth it. Deep Research Max becomes worth using when the task is long, unclear, or has many moving parts. If you're dealing with something that requires comparing options, analyzing different perspectives, or building a structured output, that's where it shines. It's also useful when you don't fully know what you're looking for yet and need the system to explore the topic more deeply. In these cases, the extra processing and structure actually help. It reduces the amount of manual work you would normally do. That's the real advantage. Not just smarter answers, but fewer steps for you. It's especially useful for professional or academic work. For simple tasks, regular chat is still better. For complex, multi-step work, this is where the feature makes a difference. If not, it's just extra complexity. The key is knowing when to switch. That's what separates useful tools from unnecessary ones. Focus on where it adds real value. Start small, test it, and build from there. Over time, you'll naturally understand when to use it. That's how you get the most out of it.